For the second week in a row, it's the end of an era at NXT, and this time we're going to end it within the confines of a steel cage. We're talking about NXT right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
10.
Yep.
It's that time again, everybody. Welcome to NXT. This is the last time probably that we'll be able to use the glorious, perfect 10. Not glorious. The wonderful, wondrous, perfect 10.
The perfect 10.
Theme song for one and only Mr. Ty Dillinger. How's it going, everybody? I am Bill Hanstock. You can find me on Twitter at Sundown Motel. This is the one and only True Hobo.
Hobo, at True Hobo, on all of the social medias. Most of the social medias.
You're on Tout.
Yeah, I'm on the Tout.
And Kick.
Yeah, the Kick. Yeah, I got a pager too. Yeah.
Tinder?
No, I do not have a Tinder. Please, dear God, do not look for me on Tinder.
Don't strike a match anywhere around the Hobo.
My hair is Tinder.
Exactly. And your emotions are quite tender.
Yes.
Beneath
my
this,
heart
beneath
is
this
tender.
gruff exterior,
beats the heart of a true warrior.
Just
a love warrior.
Just coursing with cholesterol. No, you eat well. You're
I try.
You
know, you try to eat the chicken. The chicken's the cheapest. Beef's a little bit more expensive. Actually, probably the most expensive. I'm not including your lamb. Then in there in the middle is the pork, but the pork's high fat, you know. So you try to limit the pork when you can. Get more beef and chicken because you need the red. The red and the meat is good for muscle growth, and the iron. You didn't tune in for this, did you? You don't want eating tips from me.
Hobo's nutritional info and tips.
I mean, it's hard for a guy like me who doesn't own a whole hell of a lot to eat well, and I'm 220 pounds right now. Like this is svelte, baby. This is very svelte.
You're lean and trim.
No, I'm not lean or trim. I'm husky. I got that husky thing going on. I got shoulders like boulders.
And thighs that hypnotize?
You hear that? That's my thigh.
Sounded like a super kick in here.
Yeah.
Weird. Anyway, speaking of beef and meat, we kick off this week's show with the one and only Bobby Roode coming out on his glorious Roomba.
Yep.
Spinning on into our hearts.
Low fog.
Once again.
When that Roomba, I think the Roomba was smoking. You really got to clean out that Roomba or it may cause a fire.
Yeah, you gotta be
clean out the lit trap.
It probably ran over one of those iPhone cords.
Might have, yeah. It just starts spinning and smoking. Yeah.
That's right. So he comes out to the ring and he says that he made WrestleMania weekend glorious, and he single-handedly sold out the Amway Center. 15,000 people packed to the rafters, and he gave them a treat.
I don't think there were two things that he didn't take credit for. He took credit for literally everything. And he said that he was not there at all to kiss Shinsuke Nakamura's behind, because he is the reason that NXT is great, and he's also the reason that Shinsuke Nakamura ran away, according to him.
It is also tricky to kiss Shinsuke Nakamura's backside because you got to peel him out of that red leather first.
You ever try to take wet red leather off of a kicking man?
Yes, once. But he says that this is Bobby Roode's NXT, and you can either get with Bobby Roode's NXT or you can hit the bricks. And that brings out Hideo Itami, who indicates that he'd rather hit something else. And then he does.
No words.
No words.
He slaps the taste out of Bobby Roode's mouth. I mean, full force across, and Bobby Roode is, well then, I'm gonna come here and then go to sleep. No words.
And he really went to sleep.
I mean, he was out. He was out for another couple of segments.
Yeah.
Like, that's an effective maneuver.
Yeah.
That you can take a man out for an extended period of time.
It's been a very effective maneuver for several people.
Well, I don't doubt that Bobby Roode was doing an amount of, crybabying in that ring, trying to sell that he was attacked unceremoniously, playing a little bit of possum and overselling it, maybe trying to get William Regal to see things his way. You know, I'm absolutely sure he's gonna come out next week and go, I was blindsided. This is unfair, and try and do something with Hideo Itami, trying to get a better angle on him. Because that's Bobby Roode in a nutshell. He always looks for the better angle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about, so Itami laid him out, and then he looked at the belt, left the belt with Bobby Roode, because, you know, there's a time and a place.
Yeah. Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe. And Tommy took his leave. How do you feel, and what do you think about Itami being the guy to step up now that that Nakamura is gone, that Ono is clearly not in line for the title picture?
I don't think it has to do with anyone else. Like, when I look at Hideo Itami, I don't think about any other wrestler other than Hideo Itami, because he has had to fight so much. He's had to battle back from so many different difficulties and injuries, especially injuries. When I look at Hideo Itami, the one thing that I think is he healthy enough now to compete for the NXT Championship? It has nothing to do with any other wrestlers. Bobby Roode has beaten them. But when you look at Hideo Itami, he arguably should have held that title maybe even a year ago. And it has been a long journey for him to get back to this spot in the title picture.
So what you're saying is that the long and winding road leads him back to Roode.
Long and winding road. Bum, 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 bum. Yep.
That's good.
Yeah.
We should get like a Hobo karaoke CD.
We should get like a whole band. We need a band.
I play instruments.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, you got the tattoos for it. I think it would be really unfortunate if you did not participate in some sort of ska band.
If I didn't have a band or wrestle, like there'd be no reason.
Right.
What about? Oh, I'm a CPA. It's fine.
Yeah. Although that could be fake because you're wearing a watch and it ends at the watch. It could just be a sleeve. You take the watch off, pull it off at night, and just sort of hang it. Next day, just pull it on, strap on the watch. Yeah.
Just like Carmelo Anthony does.
Yeah, absolutely.
What we had next was we went to the back, and we had Jack Gallagher and Tyler Bate. There's an announcement that they will face one another next week for the United Kingdom Championship.
Yeah.
And they were both very gentlemanly about it.
Most gentlemanly face-off I think I've ever seen in my life. It actually, the most tense moment was made out of awkwardness in the wording that Tyler Bate used in a sort of dismissive fashion against Jack Gallagher when he said, I'll be happy to successfully defend my championship next week. And Gallagher sort of took a little bit of offense at that, and there was an awkward standoff. I wouldn't say there was any sort of animosity, but it definitely got British tense. You know, when you have that moment where it's so awkward that you don't know how to move. Built like Faulty Towers type stuff.
British tense.
Yeah, British tense.
It's like all the tenses, the past, present, and the future tense all end with "in it."
Yeah,
that's the British tense.
Well, I mean, I guess that's a British standoff, maybe. Because it's, you know, you got the Mexican standoff, you got the Canadian standoff, now you got the British standoff.
What's the Canadian standoff?
After you. No, after you. That's the Canadian standoff.
I thought the Canadian standoff would be who could say sorry first.
Well,
kind of same thing.
It's both people going for the door, then saying sorry, and then going, no, you please, after, I'm sorry, no, after you. No, this, so much time in Canada is eaten away at these people's lives just apologizing and wishing the other person would just please go first.
To spare us both this awkwardness.
Yeah. Americans love it.
Please, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Pie face right on the ground on the way through. So I think I'm pretty excited about this match.
Should be.
I love Gallagher. I love Gallagher. I love Bate, and
I think they're in my opinion, when you look at them on paper, especially with their time in WWE, they're almost a little bit too much alike. But I like that, especially because I know what Tyler Bates also capable of. Tyler Bates also very gymnastic. When you push him, he can get really gymnastic.
He does that Fosbury flop dive that's really amazing.
Right. I watched him wrestle Mark Andrews at Progress. And at one point, he just started to do flippy stuff to show up Andrews. Like, I don't care about your flips, man. I can do them too. It doesn't mean jack to me. So I think there's...
But what does mean jack to him is his opponent next week.
Gallagher.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
So who you got in this one? Tyler Bate, clearly.
Yeah. But I think we might see a little bit more edginess from Tyler Bate. Mm-hmm. Tyler Bate, kind of everywhere else, has been working sort of a... I don't want to call him a heel, but he thinks he's the best now, that he's aligned himself with, or been chosen by Triple H.
Sure.
He's walking around going, I'm better than all this.
Yeah.
So I think we might get a little bit more of that when we see those two next week.
He's even stopped combing his hair when he's not in a match.
I mean, look at him. He looked almost disheveled, you dirty hippie. He's a British hippie. Yeah. You know, just like the Beatles and their long, out-of-control hair.
Yeah. It has been a hard day's night for us here in the AfterBuzz studios, but let's move on. We go back to the ring where Bobby Roode is still unconscious.
They scrape him up off the mat a little bit, kind of slap him, give him 1, 2, hit him with little smelling salt.
Give him a little jostle.
Absolutely. You gotta get out of here. We have a show to film. Will you please get out of the ring? No, I'm hurt. Oh, I'm hurt, man. No. Yeah.
It's like when you're... It's a lot like when you're trying to stay home sick. You're really playing it up. Like, oh, no, Mom.
Oh, my leg. Mom, my leg.
Wait, you would stay home with a leg injury?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Play up the leg injury.
Well, that's like if you're like, oh, my ACL, like they might take you to like an orthopedic surgeon or something.
That's okay. My parents never would have done that.
Yeah,
they would have never.
That's fair.
Like get your ass up. I don't care if we have to put you on a one of those hover rounds. Like you're leaving. Get
well,
out.
then you can finally go to the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
We cut from Bobby Roode being helped away to an earlier today WWE.com exclusive where Heavy Machinery was getting ready to really lift some weights. Really machine some heaviness.
I mean...
And they it was such a wonderful little thing. Like this, along with the Billy Kay and Peyton Royce cell phone video, I want to see a lot more of Heavy Machinery just messing around.
They're
in the back.
so goofy.
They're very
Dozer
talented. They have so
so
much
silly.
character. So he's like, let's impress everybody, even the new guy here. Pans over to show Drew McIntyre very quickly. But before Tucker Knight can lift the weights,
400
pounds. 4 stacks. Andrade Cien Almas shows up dressed impeccably and sort of gets in Drew McIntyre's face for no good reason.
Well, and Drew is lifting like a decent amount of weight himself. I'm sure he's thinking this, F off, man.
Now's not the time. I'm trying to get in the zone.
Get out. And I don't know what they were jarring about, like a whole lot of weird accents. Like, I don't know what y'all are saying, but the body language is tense, you know? I don't know what words you're using.
You know that Drew didn't care for what he was saying.
No, he didn't like it. I'm not sure he didn't understand it, but he's like, don't say it now. Don't bother me here.
So Almas stopped by to taunt Drew McIntyre, then left, and Heavy Machinery wondered where someone would go dressed like that at 1:15 in the afternoon.
Valid question. I think Almas woke up like that. He partied all night, went to bed, God knows where, woke up, sauntered into the gym at 1:00 in the afternoon. He just woke up. He's just cleaning up. He went there for a shower.
Well, here in Los Angeles, we know that there's such a thing as a lunch meeting. So maybe
like a liquid lunch, or
no.
That's my kind of lunch.
Sometimes you gotta go meet with people who know people at 2 o'clock.
I don't think that's Almas's game.
Probably not in Winter Park.
I think he's there to go meet women.
All right.
And the women don't generally know anybody.
You don't think that if Almas got a chance to like get a movie role, he would take it?
No,
He is
he would start to, but then he would party too hard, get kicked off of the set, and be back there in a suit at 1 in the afternoon.
Fair enough.
It would just, the cycle repeats itself. Like, what are you doing here dressed like that? Well, whatever, man. Then, yeah.
Great segment. Anything else to say about it?
No, like heavy machinery. Like, there's just, it's so weird that two guys that big can be that likable.
Yeah,
nuts.
That's great. And then we had a match between Andrade and Almas. Sometime later, he had gotten into his ring gear and.
Like, yeah, I guess that's why he was there.
Sure,
no,
yeah.
I don't.
He's there to prep for his big match against Danny Burch.
Yep.
Who has returned to NXT for the first time.
Birch is back!
Since last year. He is no longer Paint Dad. He has discarded, as we saw at the UK Championship Tournament, he has discarded the paint-splattered pants and coveralls, and he is now a lean, mean fighting machine, black trunks, no nonsense, wrestling boots.
He looks like a British wrestler.
Yep.
Like, I mean, to a T.
He looks like Jason Statham, the wrestler.
Yeah.
And just looks tough and cool and cut, and he's got the hairy chest, which, you know, you and I could definitely get behind.
Oh, yeah, no, I like a natural man. Why you keep waxing your chest
pelt.
like that?
Nice pelt.
Yeah.
Almost did win in fairly short order with the Hammerlock DDT, get the pinfall. But take us through this match.
Early on, Birch really had his number. Almas is all about the show and really not so much about the go. And so Danny Burch, being the technical veteran that he is, really had Almas's number until Almas was able to hit it was a clothesline kind of out of nowhere. But Danny Burch had it. He really had the matchup, but it wasn't too long thereafter. The most after that was Danny Burch was able to fire up, hit a bunch of forearms, hit a European uppercut, but then Almas hits him from behind pretty dirty. Knees, DDT, and that was pretty much it. But in spite of the quickness of the loss, I would say that Danny Burch is one win away from being somebody who's really able to be a power player in NXT.
Since he had a very memorable elimination in the UK tournament, and perhaps exited unfairly or prematurely due to circumstances.
It was I'd say it was an upset.
Right.
At least it was an upset.
Right.
I would say that he did indeed lose. When you have your head busted open the way he did, time slips away from you, and a 3 count all of a sudden is upon you quicker than you thought. So, as a result, he lost his matchup in the UK tournament. His head was pouring blood, so I don't blame him. That kid, he had the right shot. He was right on the money. That kick he landed to the back of Burch's head was memorable enough because it opened him up just like a sieve, and like any other head wound, it just bled and bled. And that was the end of the match. But that was an upset. And Danny Burch, I think, would like to rectify that, but I don't think he has necessarily anything to prove.
Well, but my question is, now that we know that NXT is a place where we regularly see the UK title defended, do you think that Danny Burch might be in line for one of those challenges to the title at some point on NXT?
I sort of question how often the title is going to be defended on NXT because the UK is going to get its own show. So the title would be defended, I believe, primarily on that show. I think this may be next week's defense, maybe the last defense that we see on NXT with the UK show debuting. Now, they might have a title match on an NXT takeover, let's say. But then again, it's not going to be such a random occurrence. There will be some build there from the UK television show, which I am pretty interested in seeing. And they were pushing it pretty hard. So obviously they want viewers to be on top of that TV show. And I think it's going to be interesting. I can't say whether or not NXT, our panel, the NXT team is going to cover the UK show. It just for time. We don't have the time. As we speak, you're like writing an article.
True. I apologize.
No, that's normal.
It's
always
run of the
working.
mill.
We're all always working. I'm in the gym. You're writing all the time. Mark is here. He runs like a good chunk of this place. Like we just don't have the time.
If Mark were with us today, he'd be working.
He would. Yeah.
But it's just great to have Danny Burch back.
Yeah.
It's great to see him.
He looks fantastic.
It's great to see him looking so good and moving
good.
so good. And what we had next was we had that amazing package last week of Ember Moon telling her side of losing at TakeOver. Now we get to see a little bit of Asuka's side of winning at TakeOver.
Yeah.
And how there are truly no competitors left. She's done it all.
I once again disagree. Ember Moon's loss was not a clean loss. Granted she was pinned, but there was enough in the finish. The referee was pushed into the ropes, thus causing Ember Moon to tumble and then Asuka to gain the pinfall after probably a swift kick to the head. And I think for that reason, Ember Moon should be the first to get a rematch. And if I were her, I would be inserting myself into any opportunity where Asuka is present. If Asuka is in the ring, you're going to be, in the ring. If Asuka is backstage, you're going to be backstage. Confront her until William Regal is forced to say, okay, you get what you want, you get a rematch, but you better win this time, or you go to the back of the line. So I think that's truly what we should be doing. But if you really look at the numbers, Asuka's beaten them all.
Yeah.
So in her defense, it doesn't necessarily matter. We've had a whole lot of fresh female talent come into NXT. So I think that there are new competitors proving themselves all the time, and that it's just a matter of time until one of these competitors has the right stuff in the right place at the right time to actually win the title. And it really is a matter of time. Although there is a possibility that Asuka could go out on top and just relinquish the title, as has been done several years ago with Paige going up and having to drop it. The possibility exists, though. Have you heard any rumors on that? I haven't.
I've not heard any rumors.
So she is the queen. Mm-hmm. She is sitting in a golden throne made out of the bones of her opponents.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's fearsome and wondrous. Up next, we had the second of our 3 matches this week. Not a lot of in-ring work, but the in-ring work that happened was fairly important. Danny Burch's side.
That's NXT's signature.
That's right.
Not a lot, but whatever happens, you have to pay attention.
But so many portions. We had Aaliyah and Liv Morgan taking on Billie Kay and Peyton Royce.
Yes.
And Aaliyah has some new gear.
A lot more color. I feel
definitely.
that she's getting more comfortable with the fans.
It's interesting because we've done a lot of griping about Liv Morgan's gear in the past.
Yeah.
And Aaliyah's gear is it's sort of like looking at the two of them side by side as we did at the end of the match when they were both on the ramp. It's pretty clear to see like Aaliyah shows that you can be colorful, you can be fun, you can have memorable gear and still have it look like ring gear and be effective. Because she sort of had the same sort of color like Liv has pulled off many times in the past with the multicolored tights. But when Liv puts that gear on, it's clear that it's not really wrestling gear.
They look like leggings.
Yeah, they
don't
yoga
look
pants.
like wrestling gear.
They look like yoga pants.
Right.
She's got yoga pants and a snapback hat on, which is cool. That's Liv's look. It just doesn't look like what we're used to a wrestler looking like.
Not these days.
Right.
It doesn't quite fit. I guess it does stand out.
Right. I think Liv has finally found her signature look with the torn open thighs because she has a few different pants like that now.
Yeah. But I don't like, if you're going to have that look, You should be a brawler. You should really hit hard. And I don't think that Liv Morgan necessarily has found her in-ring style yet.
And the other thing that's unfortunate is I think Liv Morgan probably wants to hit hard, but like there are limitations to, like, not everyone can be Bruiser Brody, not everybody can be Asuka.
Sure. But even Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, they hit hard. There was an elbow tonight.
They're much bigger than Liv Morgan, is my point.
Are they?
Yeah.
I guess I haven't really seen them side by side.
Liv Morgan's sort of on the Ashley Mazzaro end of the spectrum.
Okay, got it. I guess that's a
Callback.
scale now. Like
It's Massaro to,
measuring in at
from
Massaro.
From Massaro to Jax.
The Jax is the scale, or the Nakano, if you want to. Yeah, that was
Or Karma, if you prefer.
Karma. Yeah,
Karma.
Karma.
The Karma Initiative. We had the match, and perhaps would you call this an upset that Aaliyah and Liv Morgan won?
I would say that Aaliyah and Liv Morgan are not a cohesive unit. They are not a tag team the way that Billie Kay and Peyton Royce are. They spend all of their spare time together. They came in together. They came up together. They are a real unit. But the loss that they suffered tonight was a surprise. I don't want to say an upset, but definitely a surprise. For the way that Liv Morgan was able to insert herself so easily, and then for Aaliyah to get the upper hand with a roll-up and get a nice, clean victory. Because it was clean. It happened in the center of the ring. There were only two people in that ring, and there was a clear winner and a clear loser, and then the winners got out like they stole something.
Would you agree that the commentary team sold it as though it were an upset?
I would say it's shocking. It was surprising, especially for the fact that Aaliyah kicked out after that kick. And that kick from Peyton Royce has put away more opponents than anything else.
Such a good and effective near fall too.
It was like 1, 2, throw. No. Whoa. Liv Morgan, you can see it. Liv Morgan wanted to jump in and break it up because she knew that there was maybe a 99% chance that this was going to be an effective losing move from Peyton Royce, but the referee was in the way, and you can't knock over the referee to get and break up the pin. That'll get you disqualified. So she had to wait there. She couldn't jump in, but Aaliyah really just got the gumption and threw that shoulder up at the absolutely last possible second. Huge shock. And so the match kept going, and the win came shortly thereafter that.
Now, you talked about how they got out of Dodge like they stole something after the win, which is, as we know, an effective way to really drive home that the babyface has something to fear from angering the heels.
Well, I
mean, there's a lot of different reasons to do it, but there was a period during the Attitude Era that, like, every time the faces won, they would just like haul ass out of the ring really fast. And still something that I had like a problem with for such a long time was I believe it was I believe it was after the ladder match in the Terry Invitational tournament when the Hardys won, and they like scampered away with Terry and the money. Yeah. And then it was Edge and Christian who stayed in the ring to get all the cheers afterward, even though they lost the match. They were the heels.
Sure.
And that was something that bugged me for a while. And I believe also when the Hardys won the tag titles for the first time when they were managed by Doc Hendricks, they also like scampered out fast because I think they probably beat like APA or somebody.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Hardys have kind of always been undersized.
Sure.
But I wouldn't say that about Liv and Aaliyah.
Sure.
I would say they got out of Dodge because they know that Peyton Royce and Billie Kay have a history of beating their opponents after the bell. They don't care about that.
Sure.
They'll go ahead and beat the tar out of you no matter when the bell rang. Plus, they were fresher, being Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. They were fresh, so they knew that they had to get out if they wanted to actually not have to go to the trainer's room tonight. You know, you try and avoid injury wherever you can. And you definitely avoid it after you've already won the match. Get away from your opponent. Do not allow them to get the upper hand. Get out of the ring. And that's what they did. Smart enough.
Yeah.
Because it would have been just Liv.
Sure.
Aaliyah was barely standing up at the end of that after that kick to the mouth. Barely in it. So
Yeah.
Liv would have been the only one to fend off an angry Billy Kay and Peyton Royce. Just leave. Just get out. Get out.
After this match, we had the perhaps the definitive end of the era of NXT. We got Shinsuke Nakamura's farewell last week. This week we got Ty Dillinger and Eric Young settling their hash in a steel cage. Clearly Ty's last match in the brand.
Yeah. A
And,
brand that he helped really to mold, whether you
was
understand it or not.
holding it down since it was FCW.
Absolutely.
There's a really good and a very fun clip on YouTube if you want to check it out of Sean Spears, aka Ty Dillinger, and John Cena getting into it in a FCW ring.
I don't think I've seen that.
John Cena sort of cutting a promo about, this is the future of the industry, Jack, and Sean comes down, and Sean Spears wasn't very well liked at the time, and politely told John Cena that this isn't his ring, etc., etc. It ends like you'd expect it to end.
I would love to see a callback to that.
That'd be
now
great.
that they're up on the main roster, that would just give me such goosebumps.
Since I didn't even know about it and you didn't know about it, that's probably not the best callback to do.
Well, I think
They could play it up.
History is the best thing in professional wrestling.
Yeah,
If
it'd be nice
there's
they
no
remembered
history, nothing matters.
That's true.
History is the most important thing. It makes men legends. What they're able to accomplish and how they're able to conduct themselves over the scope of their lifespan and of their career is what makes men legendary. And maybe Ty Dillinger versus John Cena is a legendary match that has yet to be booked on a WWE television stage. I would love to see it. And because of the pre-existing history, it would add more gravitas, if you will.
So let's talk about the match itself.
Yeah.
It started out with just Young and Dillinger, just no sanity at ringside.
Dillinger wanted Young in. He wanted him to get in that damn cage, and when Young did, he met him with a thunderous right hand that put Young right on his back. And to the point, Dillinger grabs that door and shuts it himself. He doesn't wait for the referee to shut it. He grabs it, he shuts it, and now Young is locked in with him, but Young is way better than that. This was a slugfest, back and forth. Sure. No holds. These guys aren't in there for rest holds. They're there to smash each other's brains in. And it got real close down to the end there.
Sure. Yeah, you had Eric Young busted open.
Right? And who knows how? They were standing up on that top rope, jockeying for position, just throwing hands back and forth. All of a sudden, Young comes down toward the end here with that massive, monstrous elbow from the top. And he gets up and you see, he's got blood all over his face. Wrestling is not what you think it is, folks. It's the most dangerous thing in the world. You can get hurt doing anything. In fact, you're more likely to get hurt doing something simple than you are doing something complicated. An elbow off the top comes off easier than just a punch to the head. Punch to the head will mess you up.
Sure. Well, as we'll find out in news and gossip later.
Yeah, no kidding.
Any other thoughts? We had Sanity run in.
Of course.
Insert themselves into the match. And then we had the Cavalry come out in the form of Ruby Riott and Cassius Ohno and Roderick Strong. Cassius Ohno, of course, deeply invested in this feud and rivalry.
Yeah, no,
since young times, he's been trying to keep these.
I guess Jose is still laid up, unfortunately.
Jose's on the shelf.
What if Jose and Cassius Ohno were to form a tag team? Like, this is the only way I could be maybe okay with this whole weird turn of events.
Oh, no way, Jose.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Not even just for the name. Like, I actually would, that's the only way I think I would be okay with this weird replacement thing happening.
Mm-hmm.
as if they were to, like, be friends after, you know? You stepped in when I couldn't. I really respect that. I'd like to tag team with you sometime. That sort of thing. Like, that would be worth it. But, back to the match at hand. Sanity was sort of not prepared for their, demise to be coming so swiftly from behind. You sort of have to be if you think you're going to run to the ring and nobody's going to come after you if you're taking out one of their friends. You've got another thing coming. It was to me tremendously interesting that Sanity ended up locked in the ring, in the cage, and Dillinger was on the outside. I think it's really sort of apropos.
Sure.
It actually sends an interesting message.
Terribly symbolic.
Yeah.
He escaped. He liberated himself, and now he is free to move on to other places.
That's sort of how it feels.
Yeah.
Like, it really has that feeling.
Because, you pointed out he's one of the very, very few people to go out of a territory on the winning end.
Yeah.
Things.
No.
Nakamura didn't do that.
No.
Finn Balor didn't do that. Samoa Joe didn't do that.
If you go out NXT, you go out on your back.
That's right.
And Ty Dillinger's one of the few guys to go out standing tall.
But if you look at it from that metaphorical angle, it's not. This is where the analogy and the metaphor can get like super deep if you like dive into it enough.
Super deep.
Yeah, sure, but you can say he hasn't won so much as he's left it behind.
Yes.
He's moving on.
Right. As was how he actually gained a victory.
Sanity was still like up and angry.
Yeah.
They were just locked. They were trapped.
Well, and Ty Dillinger came off the top. Beautiful crossbody, which laid him out for long enough for him to escape. And that was it. He did not beat Sanity. He may have gained the final victory, the nail in the coffin as he's on his way out and up. But he gained it by escape. Mm-hmm. And I think that's sort of how you have to look at this whole thing. Is he has escaped. He has moved on and out and up greener pastures, yada yada.
There's so much fan conversation about the main roster versus NXT and people dying to have their favorites brought up and then being upset when they're not used properly and like being upset when they're not in NXT anymore.
Sure.
So it's a double-edged sword for everybody, including the wrestlers themselves. But truly, for Ty Dillinger, the case can be made that he, more than anyone else who's ever left NXT, truly escaped NXT.
Yes, he's been there for so long. Mm-hmm. I think that him simply being on the main roster is the goal that he wanted to achieve. It wasn't even about attaining anything past that, because his existence at NXT was very tumultuous. There were admittedly many times where he was on the chopping block, mm-hmm. and it was almost his time to get released. But he stayed and he worked and he toiled, and he has finally made it up to where he wanted to be, where he didn't think he would ever be. And that in itself is perhaps the biggest victory. Everything that he achieves now on the main roster will be gravy, because he's really had it all in NXT and getting out and up. That is the victory for him.
And that's quite a compliment coming from you, because I know how much you love gravy.
I love gravy.
Do you prefer sawmill gravy?
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What's that?
Oh, it's the white gravy, like the white
Oh,
sausage.
the sawmill gravy?
Yeah. As opposed to like the brown turkey gravy.
Sure. I've never ever heard that called sawmill gravy.
Well, then, my friend, you've never been to a Cracker Barrel.
That's a little more upscale than what I'm used to, friend.
Yeah, usually you just find it congealed in the dumpster.
Yeah, no, it's the white gelatinous
gravy.
Mass.
The kind that you put on biscuits.
Yeah, had biscuits and gravy, sure.
I've heard that
sawmill gravy.
I've heard they make you a man.
Why would they make gravy at a sawmill?
Hey, lumberjacks gotta eat too, man.
Yeah, but, I mean, they don't call it sawmill gravy. They call it gravy.
Well, they don't call it Chinese food in China.
They just call it food.
There are a bunch of chefs walking by the sawmill, and they're like, "Sacre bleu, great."
They were French Canadian,
Yeah,
I imagine.
exactly.
Yeah.
It was in Montreal.
Montreal.
So that was the end of the show. Ty Dillinger hoisted upon the shoulders of his compatriots Roderick Strong and, of course, his dear lifelong friend Cassius Ohno.
And I heard that tears were shed backstage.
Oh, I have no doubt.
This was a moment that really struck a chord with everybody there, backstage and in the stands. I think this was a moment that will live on in
infamy.
NXT lore. In infamy, sure.
It's not just this guy El Guapo. He's not just famous. He's infamous.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you get infamous?
Dusty. So that is it for the show. Any other thoughts on the show itself before we move on to some news and gossip?
No, solid show.
Okay, let's move on to some
we're doing good.
news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Nailed it. All right, so the first bit of news we have doesn't necessarily pertain exactly to NXT, but it pertains to new talent, and new talent usually goes to NXT. So there is a report that has come out, reported by Sportskeeda, also reported by the Pro Wrestling Torch, that Mike Bennett, Miracle Mike Bennett, and Maria Kanellis Bennett, or Maria Kanellis, as you might know her, or Maria, or Ma, have been signed to WWE and will be coming in imminently. These reports indicate that they will go directly to the main roster, likely SmackDown, but
it remains to be seen. Until then, it's possible they could show up in NXT.
I just personally, when I heard that they'd go to the main roster, it immediately made a lot of sense to me because Miracle Mike checks a lot of the same boxes that, say, Bobby Roode does. They're very similar in stature and style and attitude, and Mike and Maria, one, are a package deal. They're a great act. They're great act together.
Sure.
Two, Maria's a proven main roster commodity, so might as well bring her back. You know, Mickey is back on the main roster.
Right.
She was only in NXT for a little while. One match, right?
One match.
and that was more just like a one night only type thing the whole time.
I mean, it was one night that turned into a whole residency, you know?
But not in NXT.
No, but definitely in WWE.
But it just makes sense that they would go straight to the main roster because it's a main roster act. They're not Mike Bennett is not Roderick Strong. He is not Cassius Ohno. He is not they were in ROH for like 4 years.
Yeah. And
at no point was Mike Bennett ever like indie darling Mike Bennett.
Right.
He was he's sort of like if you were to make a mold of like what you imagine a WWE main roster wrestler is.
But it's even the argument that he's not an indie darling, to me, lends to the fact that he should go down in NXT to sort of develop that main roster vibe or some sort of something.
Totally fair.
It's a little bit unbelievable that he would skip NXT altogether, having, you know, none of the sizzle or the whatever you want to call it about him that so many other guys who skipped that did.
I agree. I agree with you. I think it makes a lot of sense both ways. But I also think that we might be entering an era where we might see some first-time signees to WWE skip NXT. Because, one, NXT and the Performance Center are full.
Oh, no, I know it. I do know.
I mean, I'm talking about established guys who've been around for a long time who've never been signed to WWE. Getting signed and going straight to the main roster. But I don't see, like, you know, international scouting guys skipping.
But does Bennett fall in that category? I know Canales does.
Yeah.
Maria does. But I'm sort of questioning Bennett because Bennett's going to be doing all the heavy lifting. Canales is going to be there to be a mouthpiece and look pretty.
Honestly, I think that because Bennett, ROH has had a television show for a long time, but that combined with the fact that Bennett just spent an entire year in Impact.
Yeah.
I think that is probably close to good. Like that combined with Maria, like because there's nothing to say that they can't like work out at the Performance Center, do some NXT dark matches before being like given the okay. They certainly have all the stuff there to put them through their paces to make sure that they are main roster ready.
Yeah.
Anyway, the second bit of your opinion on Mike and Maria.
They're great.
Okay.
I'm questioning the rumor mill of them going right up. There's nothing against them. I think they're great. I think they've got something real solid. But if guys like Eric Young and Bobby Roode are down in NXT and Mike Bennett skips and goes right to main roster, it's hard for me to believe.
Yeah.
But hey, man, stranger things have happened.
Sure. We have some real bummer news. In a match against Hideo, in a match involving the Revival against Itami and Nakamura, I believe, or it might have been Itami and Dillinger. Sorry, I don't have it pulled up right away.
Yeah, it seems to make more sense. I don't know.
A tag team match on Friday. Itami punched Dash Wilder in the jaw and broke his jaw. On the following day, Dawson was teaming with Bobby Roode in the main event. And then Dash was at ringside, and Dawson had a really great farewell speech. You can check that out at withspandex.com. And now on Monday we got the news that Dash has the broken jaw, and the Revival will be out for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Which is a bummer because they've been on Raw for 2 weeks, made to look like total killers in those 2 weeks, and
I say they still are, because
sure,
it was not reported that Dash Wilder lost consciousness with a broken jaw. There are plenty of men who've been hit in the mouth a lot lighter and have lost consciousness. Dash Wilder broke his jaw and finished the match. I think they're a couple of pit bulls, no matter how you slice that cake.
I firmly believe that they will both come back and pick up right where they left off. And the two men did discuss the situation on their individual Twitter accounts, and they both
they did.
They both came to the conclusion that it's going to be a solid opportunity for the two of them. That nothing's going to change. They're going to come back even more fired up and dedicated than before.
I believe they said the only thing that was going to change was their diet, which was going to be breakfast, lunch, and dinner at the Smoothie Planet. As would be the case with a man whose jaw is wired shut.
Love those guys. We will always bring you Revival news because we're a Revival ride or die here at the NXT team. Our last bit of news is coming out of actually tonight's NXT tapings.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
But
you won't get spoiler one here, but we are letting you know about some rebranding. Yep. Two of the women in NXT have gotten new names, debuted at tonight's taping. So the next time you pop up on they pop up on your television or your device. Yep. You won't be, no, I don't understand this.
Who the heck are you?
Friend of the program, Daria Baronato,
AfterBuzz's own,
has been rechristened Sonia Deville.
Okay.
And Macy Estrella, who we saw with the pinup, the Sailor
That's
pinup.
such a great name.
She has a new name, which is not the first name's pretty close. Lacey Evans.
Lacey Evans.
Hobo was very surprised to learn Macy Estrella, her real name.
That can't be right.
Her real name, her God-given name.
What an amazing name.
It is a good name.
I wish I were born with such a name. I would not be called Hobo.
Hobo Estrella.
Yes, the star, the literal
Hobo star.
Like, oh man,
it was her real name, and as we all know, WWE and NXT prefer it if you have a trademarkable name.
Yes,
and it is hard to trademark your real name.
No, it is impossible.
Well, it's hard to trademark your name. You can make it a registered trademark. Randy Orton is a registered trademark.
Right.
So,
but if he were to leave,
as is John Cena,
John Cena, he could keep it because it's his given name.
Sure.
Yeah.
So they like to have names that they can keep and control.
Can't blame them.
Daria Baronato, real name. Macy Estrella, somehow real name. So they have new names. Sonya Deville and Lacey Evans.
Sonya Deville. Just don't know if she looks like a Sonya.
Just got to get used to it, man. Yeah, she definitely doesn't look like a Sonya.
She's so Italian. That's fine.
Maybe it's Tanya.
Maybe.
Maybe. Who were all hearing it incorrectly. At any rate, that's it for the news and gossip. Hobo, tell the people where they can find you.
Well, y'all can find me on the Twitter and the Instagram at True Hobo. This Sunday is the Coastline Clash for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. I cannot tell you I will appear in ring, but I will definitely be wishing those gentlemen very well. Everybody on that television show works incredibly hard. So please support them, and if you can, watch the show. Watch it on Fight TV or on your cable provider, whatever the heck that happens to be. And if you're interested in learning how to wrestle, I would suggest the Millennium Wrestling Academy. Look for that in Moore Park, California.
Very nice. You can find me on Twitter at Sundown Motel. Check out uprocks.com with spandex.com, uprocks.com/sports. A lot of cool things coming out this week and next week, as we do every week.
Yep.
And you can find all of our shirts at nxteam.spreadshirt.com. Neither of us are wearing said shirts this week, but trust us, there's a lot of really cool ones there. You might find
and new ones
like.
all the time.
Something for everybody. And for the dear departed Mark B. Donica, you can find him on Twitter.
He's not dead.
You can find him on Twitter at Mark B. Donica, and he will be back.
Unless you
God
got eaten
willing.
by a lion.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm eaten by a lion.
Wow. Perfect. And on that note, thanks for joining us, everybody, and we will catch you next week.
Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bless you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.